Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video, we're going to be going through my Slumber Essence priority tier list, the first version I'm coming out with. And I just want to talk about, first of all, this is going to be somewhat subjective depending on how much you use certain heroes in PvP, and so the basically priority could change, and you could maybe even be using heroes which I don't even have included here. However, I tried to give basically looking at the meta of PvP currently, what are the powerhouse heroes with the most powerful upgrades. Those are the ones I put onto this priority list, and I do feel confident with my choice here. Now, in the level 4 tier, which is the maximum refinement, I put the most impactful, basically the hyper carrier on your team who is your win condition by their damage dealt. Those are the only heroes I'm putting up into this level 4 tier because you have limited resource, and actually there are going to be a lot of heroes you want to upgrade even to the level 2 tier to unlock their class specific skill at a lower cost. And so that is why we have very few in level 4, because like even all of these I'm not going to be able to even afford like level 4ing all on day 1. It's just that maybe you can work on them over time. So let's talk about them. So level 4, Freerin is my number 1 pick for basically everyone for investing your essence into, because she is a monster in PvP. And also, she is a monster in Dream Realm. And keep in mind, these enhancements are going to increase your overall stats, which are going to contribute to Dream Realm to a minor amount. Now, obviously, I'm only making this list purely for PvP. And Firen is top because, in my opinion, she is the best hyper carry damage dealer in PvP, thanks to her defensive magic, as well as her insane ultimate nuking, as well as vitality debuff to shut down healers and healing comps. Freerin has it all. Freerin is my favorite hero, and like she really blew all expectations. She is the top hero to be enhancing, and on day 1 I'm getting her to max refinement, and I think most people are going to be doing the same. Now after her I put Sylphira. So Sylphira is a hero we don't even have yet, but we did the Pioneer testing. She was hardly nerfed compared to Pioneer, and she has AoE silence for 10 seconds after casting her ultimate. She has 500 initial energy, and if you pair her up with an Ulna for that protection, Sylphira can be almost unstoppable. I do believe right now Sylphira is the best ally to pair with Ulna, but you do need Ulna. It is necessary, or Sylphira is not going to be nearly as effective. So Sylphira, as of right now, it is a bit speculation. We're going to have to see it actually in practice and testing, but I do think confidently that Ulna or Sylphira is the best hyper carry to pair with Ulna currently, and the silence is just way too much value, and so I'm still rating her very high. I'm definitely gonna crown her. I'm probably gonna take her to level 4 very early on. But yeah, then we have Gwyneth. Gwyneth also no nerfs compared to Pioneer server, and she was really dominating in PvP in Pioneer server. She is a normal attack reliant damage dealer. She doesn't need to cast ultimate, so Dunlinger, she doesn't care if a Dunlinger exists. She doesn't make any difference to her. She has massive damage output. Again, you do need to protect her like with any other hyper carry, like with an Ulna or like with a Gunner. So for example, now you have to be a little bit, you have to decide a bit, because like if you're using Ulna with Sylphira and using Gunner with like Freerin or Gunner with Contest, for example, what does that leave left for Gwyneth? So you need to plan if you're going to use Gwyneth, who is going to be protecting her, because that is essential. But if you can protect her, her damage output is insane, and level 4 enhancement is very worth it. I've also put Athalia here. I know Athalia is kind of falling off, like especially against stall enemy teams, Gunner, Ulna, all that invincibility. However, if you run a stall team of your own, whether it be with Zoria, whether it be with Igor, and you run Athalia in as well, Athalia still has insane nuking power. She can usually deal with a lot of top meta comps. Maybe she isn't top tier, but she still is good. And for players who have her invested, have her crowned, I think investing in maxing her exclusive equipment, she gets really good stats by upgrading. Her class specific skill is perfect for her attack and haste from the beginning of battle, and then whenever you get a kill or assist, it refreshes. And then also her skill, her stats she gets at level 4 are great. I think his execution execution and crit damage boost or crit, something related to that. That is, she has great offensive stats. That's all I remember, and that is why I think the level 4 is a priority for her. But maybe you don't have to. You could not rate her as highly, and you could just take her to level 2, for example. Like, again, these level 4 heroes, they're gonna do fine at level 2 as well. It's just that I think these are the cream of the crop when it comes to damage deal hyper carries in the meta. Then we have Marcel. Marcel, again, the problem, and I don't know if I'm gonna level 4 Marcel. I might not even invest in her at all, because the problem is you need to have supports for your hyper carries. If you have too many hyper carries invested, you don't have enough supports to go around. Like, we have Gunner, we have Ulna. Okay, that's only 2. Now, what else are you gonna run? Downlinger with Marcel? Okay, but then she's not gonna have invincibility. And if the enemy runs like a Gwyneth, she's gonna normal attack and not care about your Downlinger and just break through your Marcel. So, like, this is the problem. If you don't have an invincibility grantor, which is literally only Gunner and Ulna right now, you might not want to invest into too many hyper carries. Like, I can't recommend you level up all of these to level 4. Probably not. But it's like, if you have some of these built, you can. For example, if you have Freya and Marcel invested, and those are going to be your 2 hyper carries, max upgrade them, and you're going to do great. If you have Freya and Sophia built, those are going to be your 2 hyper carries, max level them, you're going to be great. If you have all of these built, don't max level all of them, because there's not enough supporters to go around for the whole of all 5, to basically construct a team around all 5. Then we have Siren, and the reason I put Siren here, number 1, he does have damage potential. He is kind of in that hyper carry role. But number 2, he's probably going to stand the test of time. The fact with artifact denial of the enemy, great crowd control, high initial energy, unaffected from beginning of battle. These are all things which really give him huge value for PvP, even going forward in the future. Like, you can always want to add a Siren into your team. And so that's why I think level 4 could be a good point for him, or you can stop at level 2. Honestly, level 2 is good enough for him, but level 4, he's the one pick I put to level 4 who's not exactly a hyper carry, but like, I just think is an overall very solid damage dealing hero. Now in level 2, you're going to notice I put some powerhouses in PvP. The top 4 here are all powerhouses in PvP. However, I put them in level 2. Why did I put them in level 4? Now the thing is, these are not damage dealers, and until you have enough resources where you can level 4 almost all of your heroes, which is going to take a long time, you need to do the most value for them, and level 2 is the most value. These are tanks, these are supports. They do not need to have a level 4 enhancement. Level 4 enhancement should really be reserved for your damage, your hyper carries that need to squeeze out as much damage boost as possible and as much stats from that ascension as possible. These heroes are going to do great at level 2, and I'm going to be leaving my Gunner, Dunlinger, Ulna, and Contest at level 2 for quite some time, even though they are the top tier of PvP. They're number 1. But like, you need to invest in your damage dealers to level 4 as compared to these heroes. These heroes are fine at level 2. They're going to get their job done at level 2. They don't need to go beyond that until you have plenty of excess resources, in my opinion. So that is why we have them here. But again, these are the top tier meta PvP heroes. If you want to take them straight to level 4, I can't blame you. I can't say it's bad, but I just think there's a more effective way of distributing your resources, especially early on when you're not going to have that many. And spreading it across other heroes to strengthen your other teams. Because really, when we look at the support class skill, this is one of the more powerful class skills, level 2 skills basically. The support one, basically when an ally drops below a certain health threshold, they get a portion of healing and then and a shield value. And that's really valuable. It can proc on all of your allies. And so like, the support level 2 specifically is really good. So Celeste, she's a monster in PvP, but again, she's a support. I don't want to take her all the way to level 4. I think that is overkill for support, especially early days when we don't have much resources. So level 2, but definitely high priority. Ravion, he's a beast. Ravion is just a hero that I could slot into multiple teams. I want to run him with Sulfura. I want to run him with Freeran sometimes. I want to run him with Marcel. Like Ravion or even Gwyneth, I want to run him with. Like, Ravion, just really solid hero, great PvP investment, but just take to level 2 because his own damage is not as important, right? He's a buffing role. So get him to level 2, get him that, like, nice kind of break point, and yeah, don't worry about level 4 rushing on Ravion. Then we have Theodore. Theodore's a beast in PvP, and I mean, the tank skill at level 2 is pretty nice to improve his own survival, which I think can bring value, and that's why I've also put Callan and Damon here. They're all tanks, they're all meta for PvP, and you can always find a way to fit them into your teams, and so I think all of them can be level 2 priorities if you're planning to run them. Again, this tier list is all of the heroes who I think are strong in the meta. But if you don't have them built, or you're not planning, you don't run them much in PvP, you don't have to build them. For example, if we move now on to Perseus, Perseus is a hero which I feel bad about because his unfortunately, so he's a hyper carry, but his level 4 upgrade, the stats he gains are all defensive stats. So he was done really dirty with his level 4, basically what they provided to him. And I just cannot warrant getting him up because already Perseus was not necessarily an S plus tier hyper carry. He was like always an A plus tier. And the fact that now his level 4 enhancement also gives really bad stats for his role, that it just basically means that if you want to run him, leave him at level 2, in my opinion. It still would be good enough, but I'm probably gonna avoid Perseus, I think, because like really I want to get my hyper carries max to level 4. I want them to get some really good offensive stat line when they upgrade there. I just want them to be as beastly as possible, because that's really important now. If I'm running like a Perseus or half investing into him, I don't think it's good enough to compete with the level 4 enhancement of these really top tier PvP heroes. And Hugin though is a beast. Hugin is a beast for PvP. You can run him with a multitude of hyper carries, whether it be Grinnet, Freerin or Marcel or even Siren if you want, and even run like a Lightbearer comp. Definitely that is possible. So yeah, Hugin's still very good, and he has the support, of course, class skill at level 2, so really good to get him. Alicent Bailran, it just depends. Do you use them? Alicent is kind of that supportive role, so I don't want to get her all the way to level 4 because she's not necessarily the hyper carry role on the team, but level 2 can be like a nice break point for her. That's why I chose her level 2, and Bailran again level 2 because it again depends, right? Are you going to make Bailran your hyper carry of your team? Like, is the whole team going to be centered around him as your carry? In that case, then probably level 4 would be warranted. However, I just have left Bailran at level 2 because, like, again, I don't know if he can actually compete at the top tier with other hyper carries, especially because vitality debuffs exist. Freerin has vitality debuff. I believe even Grinnet has a vitality debuff, doesn't she? With the burning fire. Fire arrow, and if she does, and multiple heroes have this vitality debuff, basically Bailran is heavily countered by vitality debuff. Just completely it's a complete mood kill for Bailran, because Bailran, he needs to heal. If he cannot heal, he's useless. He's absolutely useless. And so that's why I've also not, like, I'm not confident enough in Bailran to actually put him in level 4 or anything like that. I'm probably not going to invest into Bailran unless I do decide that, okay, I'm designing one comp around Bailran and I think it's really solid, then maybe I will invest into him. But yeah, Nero, just solid support hero. Take the enemy Lily May interruption. If they don't, then he provides another life to an ally. He has a good charm quality bonus basically every season, boosting range damage behind him. He can be good for the hyper carry protection. I like Nero a lot. Lily May, utility tech option, of course, but the thing is, the reason I would have him put it in level 4, Lily May she's not a damage dealer. She's a complete tech utility unit. She doesn't have much damage at all. She's not going to be killing people. Even if you try to like have a temporary stat buffing comp, it's not enough. You need a hyper carry dedicate on the team. Lily May, the problem though is her utility enough? Is one ultimate denial enough to win your team the game? In some cases it is, but in some cases, in some matchups, and especially with like non-ultimate based heroes getting strong like Grinnet, it really does feel bad because Lily May just kind of does nothing, right? Unless she blocks a key ultimate, she doesn't really bring enough to the team, which is the issue. Ludovic, just a good solid healer, and that's why level 2 and get that support upgrade. You don't need to get him beyond that as a supportive role. Bonnie level 2, because again, Bonnie I do also consider kind of a support. She does deal high damage. And I mean, if you use Bonnie a lot, you could try to put her higher. But the problem is Bonnie is quite counterable by Mihira, by other, by like Sylvina and things like that. Bonnie has a delay in her debuff activation. However, when we're talking about Supreme League, people are not going to be able to counter you. They're not, and really Mihira is not the strongest PvP hero, so you might not see it that much. And so, Bonnie could still be in this position over here at level 2 and be a good enhancement for your damage over time team. The other heroes, Krynar, Saida, Kulu, they're all kind of like, they're the celestial Hyperion heroes. Krynar is a hyper carry, Saida can be a win condition, and Kulu can be kind of a supportive role. The problem is, Krynar gets heavily countered by true damage, Saida gets heavily countered by contests, unfortunately. However, that being said, I'm sure you can try to make Saida work. Unfortunately, Saida's like level 2 skill is a rogue skill. It's not the most value. Attack and haste for 5 seconds. You know, Saida just really wants to cycle her ultimates. The haste can help that a little bit, but not really meaningful enough. Yeah, and Saida just it's a little bit rough for Saida out there. I don't know exactly where she stands, and I'm not making her a priority hypercare or anything like that. And if you don't have enough protection for your Saida, she's just gonna get blown up by the damage dealers, which are the top tier, right? Or if you silence her with like a Sylphira, what is she gonna do? Kulu, yeah, just kind of supportive role. I'll put Shamir and Galahad here because Shamira, if you're like an earlier game player, Shamira's or maybe a long-term player and you have Shamira like high Paragon upgraded, you want to use her in PvP, then by all means take her to level 2, get her enhancement, but I would not go commit more than that to Shamira because the problem is you are going to outgrow Shamira. The damages which in this level 4 tier, they're far better than Shamira. Shamira does not even have anything on them. She cannot compete with them. And so if you're investing heavily into Shamira, like level 4, it's just going to, eventually you're going to need to reset that. So I mean, for some time you can, but long term you don't want to be running Shamira very long, right? But if you are running her, she's Paragon upgraded, level 2 is fine. And Galahad, same. If you're using her in PvP, for whatever reason, you can level 2 her. Also, the level 2 for Galahad is going to contribute a bit to Dream Realm, although it doesn't matter much. It's only 2% of stats. But yeah, it is something to talk about. Twins. Now, Twins are heroes you sometimes use in PvP, so that's why I've kept them here. I just don't know how much they're actually going to be used. Twins are not the strongest in PvP. You know, they provide some buffs. They provide energy refund and things like that. But like, they are not as impactful as other supporters like Celise with that burst healing and attack buff for all allies. Like even a hero like Hugin, which can, you know, provide big buffs and big shields. So overall, and even good charm quality bonus. So yeah, Twins are a little bit on the debatable side whether they're worth, but I did include them here. Pandora depends if you use her. If you're planning to run a Pandora comp, and Pandora is strong in PvP, especially with an ultimate based nuker, but it's just that it is counterable. You know, you have Lily Mays, you have Downlingers, and they completely shut down a Pandora comp, which is the unfortunate thing. Or if the enemy has too much damage, they can kill your Pandora before the hero comes out of the box, which is less likely if you have a good enough team setup. But yeah, those are things you worry about. But Pandora is overall still a solid hero, and like even we have Tassi right after her. Like if you want to run a Pandora Tassi comp, still should be strong. Pandora will get that supportive skill at level 2, which is a powerful upgrade. And then yeah, Tassi, a lot of people has fallen out of the favor for a lot of people. They don't really run her anymore. She isn't the best damage dealer hypercarry. However, that being said, if you're going to run her with Pandora, or if you're going to run her with a comp which is going to allow Tassi to survive long enough, she can still get off her value. It's just the problem is if you're running up against a Freerin, and now probably even running up against a Gwyneth, a Sylphira, a Marcel, Tassi is too slow. So this is why, like, basically the heroes who are on top, the top meta hypercarriers of PvP, they basically decide who else can compete with them. Because if you cannot touch them, then basically these heroes become out of the meta. They fall out of the meta. So like Shamira, Gala, Tassi, they cannot really touch these top tier PvP hypercarriers, and that is why they are down here. And that's basically it for my list, the key priorities I have. Of course, if you use another hero, more like if you're going to plan to use Bahira a lot in PvP, you can keep her here in the level 2. Definitely, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If like, you know, to counter enemy Bonnie teams or whatever you're trying to do. If you are, for example, I don't know, using, like, it depends what you're running. Like, I know some people, I don't think many people still use Downal hypercarry for PvP because he has issues. But if you are running Downal or like a Pandora Downal comp and you're going all in on that ultimate based strategy, you can get him up to level 2 or even level 4, depending on how, like, you know, how you're using him. If he is your chosen hypercarry and you're not investing into the other hypercarries, you can even put him level 4. But basically, the thing is, these other hypercarries, they just kind of have fallen out of the meta compared to the top tier. The top tier are the most worthy of investment, the most worthy of the resources compared to the others, in my opinion. And that is basically going to be it for this video. So if you have any other tips, any other ideas you would like to share, or any other priorities you would like to share of heroes, you can feel free to share in the comment section. Of course, there is some possible that I missed something. I missed some key heroes, possible. But I think I did cover basically 90 to 95% of the core of the PvP meta. And so that should give you a good starting point. And of course, as we we learn with time, as we compete in Supreme League, as we keep competing in Supreme Arena, seeing what other people are upgrading, doing more duel testing, we'll get a better idea of who are the most value targets. The other thing is, you might be thinking, well, you have EX reset tickets, so even if you invest badly into hero, you can always reset it. We have very limited EX reset tickets. Unless you have a big stockpile from previous seasons, we hardly get any more. Like recently, there hasn't been any free way of obtaining them. We're gonna get 3 at the beginning of this new season, but that is hardly enough to like correct that many bad investments. So even now, I still think be very careful with your allocation because we don't have that many EX reset tickets. You can buy some from like the Emporium stores, like the season store, but like it's wasting your currency then, quite a lot of currency. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That's gonna be it for this one. And if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video and a pinned comment, and you can actually bookmark this link in your browser, and whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link and make your purchase. It will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.